Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to recommend you some fantasy books, honestly. Like, I know that sometimes I do it a little hard, like I find like a common theme, something like that. No. Today we're just going to talk about fantasy books. That's it. I have 10 fantasy books here, if I counted correctly, which I actually doubt, but still. I'm just going to tell you some fantasy books. So the first one that I have here is The Library of the Unwritten by A.G. Hawkworth. I sincerely haven't heard that many people talk about this series, even though it was like pretty popular when it first came out. Even though I think the final book just came out this year. It's a trilogy. I haven't finished it, but I really like this first book. Basically, it's about a library in hell. It contains like different unfinished stories, and one day one of them escapes, so all the librarians have to go and find it. It's super cool. For someone who likes, you know, books about books and stuff like that, it's generally great. Also, the humor is pretty good. I was asked about more comedic books the other day, which isn't something usually that I read, but still, pretty comedic. Like, it has like a good comedy relief from now and then. But yeah, I really liked it. I highly recommend this one. Then I have here Along the Razor's Edge by Rob J. Hayes, which is another series by an author that I really like. But basically in this one, you're going to follow Skara, and she fought at this war. She's super powerful, but the thing is, they lost. So she was sent to the pit, which is like the greatest, most deep prison ever, and she's trying to escape. No one has ever done it, but you know, she's a pretty like likable character. Depending on your tastes, might differ a little bit. She basically narrates the whole book from the future, and it's just super good because you have like her commentary and stuff. I really liked it. Skara is a very like bad bitch type of character, but I really like her overall. If you have not read this one, highly recommend that you try it. Then I have here She Who Became the Sun by Shaylee Parker Chan. This is not like that fantasy, but it's historical fantasy. This is set on 1345 China. This is basically a retelling of Mulan, and basically you want to follow this family, and you know, there's nothing in for the girl of the family, but one day a group of bandits attack and kills both of the sons, so she basically takes their place and goes join the fight. I really liked it. I know that some people just really didn't connect with it, but I really liked it. It pulled me out of a reading slump that I had this summer. It was probably one of the first books that I finished like in 2 or 3 days, in months. So yeah, I recommend this one. Also, this cover is magnificent. But yeah, I really like it. Great historical Asian-inspired fantasy. So please try it. We have so many like mixed fantasy here. There's barely any like medieval fantasy. This is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok. Yeah, by Ashok K. Banner. I always fucked the first name. This is a Hindu-inspired fantasy, and it's super good. Extremely underrated. It has one of my favorite tropes that is just like gods meddling with humans in the real world. It's just super cool, okay? But basically, we're going to follow this called Burnt Empire, and the king just died, and now both his heirs have to go through this trial in order to prove that they are like worthy. They have all been like super badly treated because both of them have different disabilities, so they basically managed to pass this test. But once they're just like, you know, really there to taste it, this powerful girl appears, and she is the daughter of a demon king. Yes, I'm just going to leave it at that. So everything just, you know, gets like a bit of a twist, but I really liked it. It's massive. By the way, if you get this, highly recommend that you get the paperback, because it's not going to be released in hardcover like the next books, which pisses me off a little bit because I had to order book 2 in a paperback, having bought this one in hardback. But yeah, highly recommend this one. Extremely underrated. If you like a court political intrigue, you know, gods in between there, Highly recommend this one. Then I have another kind of historical fantasy. This is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is also pretty horror-y. Oh, this is so white. The white balance is going to be all over the place. But in this one, we're going to follow Emmanuel. She lives in this town called Bethel. And they have this like really prolific religion, and of course magic is the bad thing, which is no. So there's this really dark forest surrounding the village, and one day she gets like this skull from the forest and everything starts getting really weird in Bethel. It's really cool. The horror elements could be more terrifying, but the atmosphere of this book is great, so for that alone I just highly recommend it. Also, the plot was pretty good, honestly. Then I have here a new favorite of mine, The Mask of Mirrors by Emma Carrick. I really need to read The Liars, not this month or next month. But basically, this is kind of Venetian inspired fantasy, and we're going to follow this girl. She deceives if necessary. She's, you know, kind of a con artist herself because she has nothing, along with her sister. Let's call it sister. They decide to pass for a member of this noble family in this town, and you know, there's makeup. They start gathering information. Really, it's super cool. There's a lot of, you know, like masking around, and you know, these balls and having to pretend, and court intrigue in general. All the intrigue between these different powerful families. Super cool. I know my explanation sucks, but this book is great. Honestly, super good. Highly recommend this one to anyone who enjoys fantasy. It reminds me a lot of the likes of Lo Clamora. I know that I said it last time, but it reminded me a lot of it, like so much of it. If you like that other one, try this one, you're going to love it. Then I have here The Maleficent Seven by Cameron Johnston. I love this book so much and I want to read it so badly. Basically, we start the prologue with this great war. And this group of commanders, the Maleficent Seven, they are under the command of this powerful kind of villain, and for some reason that nobody knows, she decides to flee and the war is lost, basically. So some years have passed. Apparently the new empire is not as good as it seemed, and now she is basically rising again, and for that she's going to need the help of her previous commanders. It's just super cool, man. Super cool. Honestly, we have a vampire, we have a necromancer, we have a pirate queen. It's so good, man. We have an orc. It's great. I love this. If you're looking for, you know, like a fan, not a fan because it's pretty dark, but like a super smooth fantasy, just get you out of reading slumps and just enjoy, try this one. I really need a sequel. Like, I wish I had a sequel. This is so good. Then second to last, I have here There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Paul. And hear me out. For some reason, my edition is not marketed as YA, but apparently in the US, this is published under a YA publisher. So I don't know, but we definitely follow like a bunch of young characters. But basically in this one, we're set in this world and we're going to follow a bunch of different characters. There's this prophecy going around that an evil is going to rise, such the title, There Will Come a Darkness. We're going to follow the Pale Hand, who is an assassin. We're going to follow a guard that is part of this religion trying to protect like the prophet so they can defeat the darkness. We're going to follow that prophet. We have a lot. We have a lot. There's a lot of setup in this first book, but I actually highly enjoyed it. So if you're doubting, just check it out for yourself. And at last I have here The Helm of Midnight by Marina Lostetter, which I reread actually this year. I read it 2 times this year and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is more of a darker type of fantasy. It's also pretty steampunky sometimes because it's actually set in a city. And it feels like a city, you know? It's weird. It's weird. But there's also pretty much a little bit of horror here. A mystery, because this is on its core a murder mystery. We're going to follow this police officer, and a mask that belonged to a killer is now missing. Basically in this world, masks can contain knowledge from their previous owner and sometimes even like kind of their soul, their essence. So now that the mask is lost, this killer is showing up again, which is impossible because he's dead. So yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it. It's divided into 3 different timelines. which I really enjoyed. But yeah, highly recommend you check this one out. It's actually part 1 of a series. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or more, but I hope it's more because I really like this world. Like it's good enough dark, you know? It's just great. So that's basically all my like kind of recent fantasy reads that I wanted to recommend to you. But please, if you have any recommendation, as always, just leave them down in the comments below, because you know I always love getting more recommendations. Like, and if they're darker, the better. But if not, I'm okay with everything. I love just court intrigue, you know? So if that's it, I'm in also. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. So as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.